Oh
and
my
we can
God,
talk
get the
about
hell out of here.
We can
dude.
talk about Rodgers.
Get the hell out of here.
Okay, what is the need to bring up the Yankees?
It's just stuff to bring up because
Are you kidding me? Come on, dude! This came out of nowhere!
not. Clemson is a top team. Don't start with that. Clemson's a top team, no doubt, 100%.
Unless they're on Saturday, then they might move down. Welcome back to Go Chat. We are on episode 81 today. We have a nice episode planned. We got Sam Darnold, some college basketball, but of course, first we got Go of the Number. But before we get into that, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, go follow our Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all that good stuff. Please throw us a follow there. Any support is greatly appreciated. But now let's head into the Go of the Number 81. Matt, I will swing it to you first. Who you got?
I think this has got to be Terrell Owens. Last episode, we went with Jerry Rice, and he was a great wide receiver in the NFL. So I'm going to throw to another great wide receiver in the NFL, being Tyrell Owens, six-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro. He was on that Hall of Fame, all 2000s team. And just think about all the teams that he played for, obviously starting his career on the 49ers, probably the best. Then when he went to the Eagles, to be honest, they were really good with him. They made it to the Super Bowl that one of the years he was there. And then obviously Mike going to your Cowboys and then the Bills and Bengals. Just an all-around great wide receiver. I think of him as one of the best, and he's got some of the best moments too in the NFL. So I got to go with Terrell Owens here.
Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to argue with T.O., man. I mean, to think that he was a third-round pick in 1996, 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro. I mean, Matt went through a lot of stats, over 15,000 yards, almost 16,000 yards, over 1,000 catches in the NFL, 153 touchdowns. I mean, it's just incredibly impressive to see this. And, T.O. was just such a fan favorite, all of the different things that he did on the field. A lot of people didn't like him for the different things that he did, pulling a Sharpie out, signing the ball, throwing it into the fans, going and standing on the Dallas Star center or at center of the field. He was an entertainer first, wide receiver second. Or maybe flip that around. Either way you think about it, T.O. was a great guy. Wish he had a Super Bowl ring. Just as a fan of him, I wish he had a Super Bowl ring. But T.O. here at 81.
Tommy, what do you think? I agree. Got to go with Terrell Owens here. No baseball players really to pick from today, but no, the clear choice.
But it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter if there was a baseball guy to pick, Tommy.
Well, that's not true. But no, you guys, you gave all the
Tommy,
stats.
there's no baseball players to talk about the rest of the 81 through 99.
I disagree with that, but we'll see. Number 99 for sure. But for the, like you said, Terrell Owens, Hall of Famer, 8-time Pro or 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro. You gave all the stats, put together a really great career. And like you said, 8 years in San Francisco, played really well there before going to some other teams to finish out the career. But yeah, 153 career touchdowns. And like you said, 15,000 yards, Connor. So great career for Terrell Owens. And I agree. He's the clear choice today.
Yeah, I agree, guys. We're unanimous here. T.O., fantastic wide receiver, extremely dominant. One of the most polarizing figures in all sports. He was seen as like a locker room cancer, which is why he bounced around from the 49ers to the Eagles to the Cowboys and all off the Cowboys and all that stuff. But whenever he was on the field and fully committed, he was one of the best wide receivers in the league at the time. And there's really no doubt about that. I mean, he played in the Super Bowl with a broken leg and had over 100 yards against the Patriots, which is absolutely insane. So whether you like him or hate him, fantastic wide receiver. And always he was there to protect my boy Romo when he said, "That's my quarterback.
It's my quarterback."
But if anyone else remembers that moment. But yeah, T.O. here 100%.
I just hated that. That was disgusting. Don't ever do that voice again.
You've never seen that clip?
I've seen the clip, not the voice.
You know what? Listen, I'm sorry I have the best T.O. impersonation, across the land, but that's what he sounded like. What can I tell you? That's what he sounded like.
That's my quarterback.
It's my quarterback.
Great go to the numbers segment. Tommy, I'm very clear cut that there's no more baseball players available for the remainder of these. But you know what? You can throw out Aaron Judge for 99 and get absolutely obliterated by our two hockey guys here. Little foreshadowing there, Hey, we got a great episode planned. Mike said we're talking about the Sam Darnold trade. We're talking about college basketball. Then we're gonna hop into the trade first when we come right back from this break. We got a great episode. Stay with us. Welcome back to Go Chat. We are here, and as we talked about, big trade on Tuesday in the NFL. The New York Jets sent quarterback Sam Darnold to the Carolina Panthers for a 2021 6th-round pick and a 2022 2nd-round pick and 4th-round pick. Big haul. I think it can value both teams in the end. I think it can value Sam Darnold in the end. I'm going to get my guys here opinions first on this trade. Matt, I'm going to throw it to you first.
When I first saw this trade, originally I thought the Panthers won that trade. Well, I think it was a very fair trade, to be honest. I think, it was going to there, but if I had to pick a team that won that trade, I'm going to stick with the Panthers. Obviously, Sam Darnold's career path hasn't gone the way that he wanted it to go, but you also have to look at, and I'm not coming out in here and saying Sam Darnold's a great quarterback because we really don't know. He's had some really bad throws. He's definitely not better than Josh Allen, guys. Not sure if you guys remember. You guys said Sam Darnold's better than Josh Allen. Not sure. I just want to put that back out there. But he's definitely not better than Josh Allen. But, you look at what the team he was on, the team players around him, he really didn't have enough help. He had to go into a little hero ball here and there. So I think, I think he's got a lot to work on, but I think the Panthers can really do something here. Wouldn't be shocked if the Panthers became a playoff team in the next couple of years if Sam Darnold worked on some of the stuff. And the reason why I just think the quarterback market is huge, and I think the Panthers, what they gave up was just fine enough for Sam. I think the Jets probably could ask for more. I feel like something more could have happened with that, especially because of his age. But that's my thoughts.
Tommy, what are your thoughts on the trade?
Well, I'm going to be honest. It shook up my whole day. I couldn't even believe it when they traded Sam Darnold. It was just earth-shattering. But no, Connor, you kidding me? It's Sam Darnold. No, I'm no, but it's a big trade. I mean, it's important because obviously they got to make a move, the Jets, and with the new coach coming in, it'll be interesting to see what direction they go. But I think he'll do well in Carolina, and we've talked about him throughout several episodes. I think that he does have plenty of talent, but obviously there with Adam Gase, his growth was not what they were hoping it would be. So, they'll move on, and I think it's good for both parties, and hopefully it works out in the end.
Mike, what were your thoughts?
It's good for Sam Darnold to get out of New York. Was obviously it wasn't working out in New York, and honestly, I thought the Jets got a really good haul for someone who has been objectively one of the worst quarterbacks in the past 3 years. And I know going back, to one of the first couple episodes that we did, Connor and I were saying that Josh Allen was worse than Sam Darnold. Obviously, we've been proven wrong 10 times over this past season. And I was really hanging on to that little stretch where he returned from mono and the Jets finished with a 7-9 record. I was kind of holding on to that. And there's no doubt that Sam Darnold has potential. He has a big arm. He doesn't see – he can move. We saw on that 50-yard run against the Broncos, I think. So I really think that Sam Darnold has potential, but he's just been really bad in his first 3 years in the league. And you could attribute that to, his offensive line or Adam Gase or anything like that. But I don't think you could put the whole blame on them. I just don't think that he's that good. His accuracy is extremely poor. We see him make some crazy throws. We also see him make some really dumb throws. So I don't really know where all this Sam Darnold, I'm not going to call it Sam Darnold hype, but I'm just not really high. Who knows? He could be a good start in Carolina with a better offense, better weapons, a much better offensive coordinator. That's for sure. And Joe Brady. But I don't think I'm a big believer in Sam Darnold. And this isn't going to be the answer long term in Carolina.
Sam Darnold's entire career turned around on Tuesday when he was traded. He was never going to be a guy in New York. I mean, he was drafted by Todd Bowles and Mike McCagnon, and 1 year after that draft, Mike McCagnon was fired. Adam Gase, or 1 year after that draft as well, Todd Bowles was fired when they finished 4-12, and then they bring in Adam Gase, who went 7-9 in Miami. Brought in a new offensive coordinator. So now his second year in the league, he had his second new system that he was working with. And then they finished 7-9. He battled with mono for the beginning of the season. Then his third season, they hand over play calls from Adam Gase now to Dwell Loggins, who was their former offensive coordinator. So it's a third different system because Loggins changed the entire system that they were running. So he ran 3 systems in New York in 3 seasons. That's no success for a quarterback at all coming into the league. New York did exactly what they did to Geno Smith a couple years ago. And if you want to test to what they did to Mark Sanchez a few years ago as well, after his first 2 years in 2009, 2010, they just did that to Sam. Sam has an incredible amount of talent. I mean, people are going crazy over the throws that Zach Wilson made at his pro day and the throws that Justin Fields made at his pro day. Sam Darnold was making those throws at his pro day in the pouring rain. He did his pro day in the pouring rain in Southern California and was making the same throws that Zach Wilson and Justin Fields were making these a couple weeks ago. Now, I'm not saying that Sam Darnold is a great quarterback or anything of those, but his career turned around. Look at the situation he got put in. He got put back with his number 1 receiver, Robbie Anderson. He has a top 3 running back in the league behind him in Christian McCaffrey, a top 15 to 20 receiver in DJ Moore. I mean, he has a lot of pieces, and they're holding the number 8 overall pick, which a lot of people were thinking was going to be a quarterback up until this trade. Now they can go out. Kyle Pitts is sitting there at 8. They can grab Kyle Pitts. If Rashawn Slater or Penei Sewell are there at 8, they can grab offensive tackle help. They can bolster the offensive line. I mean, Carolina is now in a really tough position. Or a really good position. However, they're battling in a really tough division. He's in a division that is home to Tom Brady, New Orleans Saints, and Coach Sean Payton, and then the Falcons, who have a lot of talent. They do. They may have not lived up to a lot of the talent, but they have talent there. Sam Darnold's going to be okay. They exercised his 5th-year option, which was $18 million fully guaranteed. Sam Darnold's going to be an okay quarterback in the NFL, and this turned around his season. Or his career. As far as the trade, I know I'm very long-winded here. This is something that I have.
It sounds like you're dropping your son off at college right now.
You know what though, and that's how a lot of Jets fans feel. Is Sam Darnold? He was the guy. When we drafted him in 2018 with a 3rd overall pick, we thought that was our guy for the next 10 to 15 years because of the promise that he had. And to see that it all went downhill so fast, and to see everything that happened with Le'Veon Bell and all the pieces that fell around him that they tried to build around him, it was just no success for Sam's career. So it was so disappointing. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I hope Sam Darnold absolutely sucks, so that the Jets can get a good 2nd-round draft pick. I want to see Sam succeed. I would love to see Sam Darnold succeed as a Carolina Panther because he never did anything wrong in the Jets organization. He came into work every day and he played his butt off. No matter what. I mean, he was running around the field, running over defenders in the Cleveland Browns defense. He played his butt off. Whether it translated into success and wins, that's another story. But he came to play. I'm very long-winded here. As far as the trade, the Jets won the trade. As much as what I just said about Sam, the Jets won the trade. Being able to get a 2nd-round pick for a quarterback who threw 9 touchdowns in the previous season and 13 interceptions and has a negative ratio to touch, or a little over 1 ratio of touchdowns to interceptions in the NFL in 3 seasons, to get a 2nd and a 4th-round pick in next year's draft and a 6th-round pick, the Jets won that trade. The most teams were thinking, a lot of the reports were saying was the Jets would get a 2nd-round pick, heads up. 2nd-round pick for Sam Darnold, that's the done trade. The fact that Joe Douglas was able to get a 2nd-round pick, 4th-round pick and a 6th-round pick. The Jets won this trade. They were never going to pick up the 5th-year option. They were going to draft a quarterback at number 2 no matter what. They essentially gained picks and gained $18 million not having to exercise that 5th-year option. It was a great move. I wish Sam all the best, but Joe Douglas and the Jets made the right move here.
Listen, here's the thing. The 6th rounder this year can care less about that, all right? Then we're going to those two picks in 2 years. That value already diminishes because it's not this year. And you don't know what Carolina can do. So the thing is, that 2nd and 4th can turn into
2nd and 3rd, I think.
2nd and 4th in 2020.
None of the picks can change.
Oh, I thought the 4th was. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the Islanders, Devils, whatever. Go ahead. I was thinking about hockey.
That 2nd and 4th can turn into a high 2nd and a 4th. Like, who really cares about the 4th, to be honest? I just don't think that's that much to give up for Sam Darnold. And I'm not saying Carolina's going to go out there and be this fantastic team. I just think there's so much upside for them. You talked about their division. Saints are they're down the decline bad. Like they're going to fall off this cliff soon. The Falcons are on a decline. Matt Ryan is getting older. Julio Jones is getting older. They're going to start to go on a decline. Tampa Bay, they're still up top, but once Tom Brady, they're going to have to start to redo something when Tom Brady retires in the next, I don't know, maybe I'll give him 50 more seasons seeing what he's doing right now. And then Carolina can enter the picture, especially in a weak NFC. So that's where I'm thinking where Carolina may have won this trade, especially Sam Darnold's 24, right? He's the same age as Joe Burrow. And he's
younger than Joe Burrow.
He's younger than Joe Burrow. Okay, so he's younger than Joe Burrow. And he's going with Joe Brady, who worked so well with Joe Burrow and, can easily resurrect this young quarterback's career, sort of like Tannehill did. So that's why I think Carolina's won this trade, because in hindsight, they really just gave up a 2nd rounder and then the next year, not this year. So that trade, the value of that pick is not as high as a 2nd rounder, really, in hindsight.
I mean, I can agree with you, but it's also not like it loses its value as in we're doing a Madden trade here where a 2nd-round pick next year isn't as valuable as a 2nd-round pick this year. I mean, a 2nd-round pick is still a 2nd-round pick. And when you're still playing in a division with Tom Brady twice a year, you can almost count that as 2 losses with how explosive Tampa Bay can be. But okay, that's fine. That's fine. Sean Payton's still going to be a good coach, no matter what. No matter who the quarterback is there, whether it's Jameis Winston or what. They're still going to be a good team. They're still going to be a good team there because they still have good weapons there. I think so. When you have Alvin Kamara in the backfield and Michael Thomas still lining up on the outside with a decent defense, you're still going to be a good team.
Last year, Michael Thomas,
he was hurt.
But Michael Thomas is not going to carry this team. The quarterback's got to throw it to Michael Thomas. And I'm not trusting Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill, to be honest, moving forward. Because we saw
there's a lot of quarterbacks deep in this draft that they can take.
They're not going to
Kellen Mond is going to be there. Kyle Trask.
Quarterback's not going to jump right into that New Orleans system and be able to play good. That's something that
Dak Prescott did in Dallas.
He's an anomaly. It doesn't happen often.
You don't see that so often, especially at a top-heavy quarterback draft like this.
This is a top-heavy quarterback, but it's also a deep quarterback class. While those first 5 quarterbacks are definitely above the rest, there's still good quarterbacks in this draft.
There's like Kellen Mond, Kyle Trask, and possibly Ian Book. I don't think he's going to be that great of a quarterback. He could be.
You just said the other day that you could see him as being a starting quarterback in the NFL.
I could see him being a system quarterback. I could see him.
Can you make up your mind when we're on?
He's not going to go in there and start for a team right away. No one. Listen, what Dak Prescott did was fantastic. I don't think any quarterback can really jump into that New Orleans system and play good unless it's one of those top 5 quarterbacks, and they're not going to get that.
All I'm saying is the Carolina Panthers aren't going to be a playoff team this upcoming season. I think that's very evident.
That with dominance?
I can say that.
Yes, I will say.
yes, I will say that with certainty, that Sam Darnold now in his fourth system in 4 years isn't going to make the playoffs. Whether it be a Joe Brady system and Matt Rule as a head coach, who I think is a very good head coach, and Joe Brady's a great offensive coordinator who probably should have gotten a head coaching job this season. Whether it be in that system, I don't think it matters. It's still a quarterback learning an entirely new system, his fourth system in his fourth season in the NFL. He's not going to take them to the playoffs, and that second round pick is still going to be a decent pick. If they find themselves with the 8th overall pick again, where they are this year, that's a high second round pick for the Jets. That's a win. In a high second round pick in this year's draft, you could grab a great wide receiver potentially, a great running back potentially, a great offensive tackle potentially. The top of the second round, there are still great first round talents available in the draft. And if Joe Douglas can, if this trade works out the way the Jets see it, envision it, where they're able to get a top of the second round pick there, they have 2 first round picks in next year's draft, 2 second round picks in next year's draft, 2 third round picks in next year's draft, and now 2 fourth round picks in next year's draft. They're completely setting themselves up for the future. And when you just keep adding picks and picks and picks like this, and you're saving an $18 million fifth-year extension when you're going to draft a quarterback with the number 2 overall pick, this is absolutely the right move for the Jets, and they made the right decision here.
I just think Carolina has that slight win here because of how young Sam Darnold is and because of how they could translate his game. I would not give up on Sam yet. And to say that Carolina's not gonna make the playoffs in certainty is just bogus, Connor, because we know anything can happen. You don't know anything's in certainty.
Absolutely. Anything can happen.
So
but Christian McCaffrey is coming off a completely injury-riddled season. DJ Moore was on and off the field all season last year. They lost their number 2
field like for 1 week.
That's not true. He was on my fantasy team. He missed like 5 or 6 weeks last year. They lost their number 3 slot guy in Curtis Samuel. I mean, like, it's just a team that's full of injuries, and the defense isn't great. It's a team that I don't see them as a playoff
The defense
team.
is very young. The defense is very young that is going to keep getting better.
Yeah, sure, they can keep getting better, but young doesn't always mean good in the NFL. It means inexperienced.
Young means you could build and implement
absolutely
for the future. So when they're this young,
so how is that any different than the Jets going out and getting these draft picks by building and having 2 picks in each of the first 4 rounds next year? Matt?
Connor,
I'm arguing with Mike because your picks are freaking ridiculous.
My picks are freaking ridiculous. Connor, I'm not picking anything. I just said Carolina has a slight edge. I'm not saying the Jets was this awful move. You're just getting so furious because it's your precious little Jets, and I did not go with what you wanted to do.
It's not even because it's the Jets. It's not even because it's the Jets. When you have the number 2 overall pick and you're going to be taking a quarterback no matter what, and you can save $18 million.
I just think they could have got more from that trade.
What else can they get?
I don't know. Another
9 touchdowns.
Maybe it's year. Oh my gosh, Connor! We saw Carson Wentz, who literally threw. We literally just saw Carson Wentz, who threw a ton of interceptions, go for what? A second rounder and a first rounder or whatever, or conditional.
Okay. Has Sam Darnold ever had a season like Carson Wentz?
No.
Has Sam Darnold had a season like Carson Wentz? No. So there's your answer.
Sam Darnold is so much younger than Carson Wentz. And I'm a huge Carson Wentz believer, but after that season, you think he's really going to do something? I'm just saying that maybe they could have got a little more for Sam Darnold, maybe another third, or maybe not a 4th and a 6th, but like I said, a 3rd or a 2nd. I just think that you could get so much more for such a young guy.
Hold on.
2 second-round picks or a second and a 3rd for a quarterback that was overshadowed by his backup last year. It wasn't going to happen. Joe Douglas.
All right, let Mike talk.
Matt, while it is true, Sam Darnold is extremely young, and he has all this arm talent and potential. He was throwing in the rain at his USC Pro Day and all that stuff. I don't care about. No, I was just.
No, go ahead.
But I'm just saying, there's absolutely no shot that the Jets could have gotten more for a quarterback that has been one of the top 5 worst quarterbacks in his first 3 seasons, regardless of the amount of potential he has. He threw more interceptions than touchdowns last year. And
he already had 1 foot out the door, considering that the Jets had the number 2 overall pick. So for someone that's already either going to sit on your bench and waste cap space, or going to be out the door next year, I think the Jets got a great value. And let's not, take that these 4th and 6th round picks are absolutely nothing. They're a nice little, extra cherry on top for Dak Prescott. Like you said, was a 4th round draft pick. So while they most likely won't be impactful players, there's always that shot there, and they hold some kind of value. So I think the Jets,
Look, man,
even
we
getting
can't say
second.
that.
What?
Listen,
We
I
can't
kind
say
of
that
Mike,
4th or 6th
I,
round picks can't be impactful when our go to the number 81 was just a late 3rd round pick. We can't say that these aren't impactful.
I just said that they could be impactful.
You just said, well, they're not going to be impactful, were your exact words.
I said, while they probably won't be, while most 4th and 6th round picks,
most of them are not that huge.
I'm saying that they hold value. I don't know if you were just not listening to what I was saying, that you can't just automatically dismiss them and that these picks are important. I'm shocked that the Jets got more than 2 threes for someone that has played as poorly as Sam has, regardless of his surrounding weapons and offensive line. While Sam has potential, and Joe Brady is a fantastic coach, and so is Matt Rule, and he has more weapons in Carolina, I just don't think I believe in Sam to convert on it. While it's possible, I'm not betting on someone who has played as poorly as Sam has. And that's it.
No, you bring up a lot of great points, Mike, and Connor as well. I just think, I don't know. I just think, Carolina, they're getting a little, they're getting a nice possible future.
And I can absolutely agree with you there. Sam Darnold can be a great quarterback. And I said at the beginning of the segment, his career turned around on Tuesday. And I truly believe that. I think Sam Darnold, because of his age, can be a very good quarterback in the NFL. But what I'm saying is, in the current state, right now, for this trade, the Jets being able to add 3 more picks onto their rebuilding process, when over their next 2 years, they have 22 draft picks, that's almost half of an NFL roster right there. Half of it. When they have that amount of picks, and when you're able to add 3 more onto that, that just holds a lot of value for a rebuilding team who currently holds the number 2 overall pick.
The difficult thing about this trade is you look at, in my opinion, you look at each side, and I think they both won. It's just a matter who got that slight edge in winning. I
would agree with you. Both teams won. All parties involved in this got a great piece. Sam Darnold, Carolina Panthers, and the Jets. And, my take on the Jets winning potentially could be a little biased, but there's a lot of reporters who are out there who were saying the same, that the Jets won because of them being in the rebuilding process. Either way, I think both teams won. It's a very close margin there between the teams.
I think that's going to wrap up a great segment on Go Chat here on Go Chat. You guys don't see a lot of me and Connor. It's usually Mike and Connor, but we're going to head into quickly recapping the NCAA tournament, giving out some awards, and then we will be on with the Go Chat episode. Welcome back to Go Chat. We are back. March Madness is finally over. I know we're all upset. I shed some tears on Tuesday knowing that March Madness is over. We got to wait a whole nother year for March, but we could recap this amazing tournament. Baylor ended up beating Gonzaga. We all picked Gonzaga. That was pretty depressing. Gonzaga almost lost to UCLA too. That was almost really depressing after our episode would have came out the day after. But we dodged a bullet there, but Baylor ended up winning. But let's do some March Madness awards. We got 3 awards that we could give out to a player or a team, and we are going to start with the breakout team of the tournament. Connor, I'm going to swing it to you first. I know you told me not to, but I still want to swing it to you first. Who is the breakout team in your mind?
Breakout team or breakout player?
We're going to go with team first.
Breakout team, I think it has to be the UCLA Bruins. I mean, to play in the first 4 and the UCLA Bruins, I'm sure one of you guys are also going to mention them. To play in the first 4 and to be down 14 or 16 points in the first 4 to Michigan State, and then able to get through that game, and then beat a gritty BYU team. And then who did they play in the second round?
They ended up playing Abilene Christian, who beat Texas.
Played Abilene Christian, who beat Texas, and then they were just able to work their way through. and that game against Gonzaga in the Final Four, you saw heart from all those kids out there. I mean, my breakout player that we can talk about in a little bit. I mean, played with absolute heart, played incredibly well for regulation, and it came down to a half court buzzer beater for Gonzaga to beat a number 11 ranked team in the tournament. That shouldn't have been a number 11 ranked team in the tournament. UCLA Bruins are definitely the breakout team here this year.
Fantastic pick. Tommy, what do you think?
I think that's a great pick, but I'm going to go another way. I'm going to go with Oral Roberts because I think that was just a great story all around. And, that big upset on day one of the tournament against Ohio State, 15 over the 2, that was impressive. And then they go on to beat Florida. And then, they did lose in the Sweet 16, but I thought they were a great story. But UCLA, I mean, it's hard to go against them. I just thought I'd go another way, but they're my breakout team.
Another great pick. Mike, what do you think?
I'm going with UCLA too. I mean, a lot of people didn't even think that they were going to beat MSU in the playing game, including myself. Everyone kind of just wrote UCLA off from even before the beginning started. You know what I mean? So for them to come out and just fly through that region, and then really put up the best fight against Gonzaga, other than obviously Baylor, in the Final Four game, is just absolutely outstanding. It's something that we really haven't seen before, maybe once or twice in the history of March Madness. But UCLA with Johnny Juzang, just absolutely phenomenal, and the most surprising thing in March Madness this year.
I'm gonna have to go with Tommy. So it's a 2-2. I'm gonna go with Oral Roberts. Just coming out 15 seed, beating Ohio State, and then ended up Ohio State, by the way, was very hot after having a really a good Big Ten run, and then ended up losing to Illinois. But beat Ohio State, move on to Florida. They beat Florida. Arkansas, they literally lost off a missed buzzer beater by Ace Miss. They could have been dancing into the Elite Eight just like that. But, it was a great run by them. I think UCLA, of course, is a great pick. Shout out Oregon State, too. But I'm going to have to give my award out to Oral Roberts for that 15 seed, moving all the way there. Moving next, breakout player of the tournament. Mike, who do you think is the breakout player of this tournament?
I said him just before. It has to be Johnny Juzang. I mean, he absolutely balled out for UCLA. He was one of probably the main reason why UCLA advanced to the Final Four and took Gonzaga into overtime. He was uber efficient from the field, averaging over 50%. And I think he averaged around 24 points per game against BYU and such really tough teams. BYU is really good defensively. Alabama's, elite offensively, but Michigan, they really clamped down, and Johnny Juzang scored over half their points against Michigan. So he really willed them into the Final Four, and he has to be my breakout player.
Tommy?
Yeah, I got to go with Johnny Juzang too. I think that you gave, you gave a good overview, Mike, but put together a really solid tournament there for UCLA. And like you say, it was a big reason why they were able to make it as far as they did. And, Connor and Mike, you detailed what they were able to do, and he was a big reason why. So got to go with him.
Connor?
Yeah, I have to go with Johnny Juzang as well. I just think he had a great tournament. Mike gave a lot of the stats. No need to talk your ear off. Johnny Juzang, absolutely breakout player.
I am going to not agree. I'm going to take Buddy Boeheim, of course, for the breakout player of the tournament. Just going out there in his first 2 games for Syracuse with a 27.5 points per game, 59 from the field, 57 from 3. The kid was just insane. He was going off. He scored 16 straight against San Diego State. Merrick Dolezaj got 2 right away. Shout out to him. He has to leave. So sad to see him go. But Buddy ended up getting 16 straight. And then you even look how he broke out all over the internet. We saw him all over Instagram. We saw him over ESPN, Bleacher Report, March Madness. Loved to post about him. He was on First Take. He was just everywhere, especially with that story. So Johnny Juzang is great. I also have a reason why I picked Buddy Boeheim here. But just Buddy, he's the definition of a breakout, in my opinion, at this whole tournament. Final award, MVP of the tournament. Tommy, who are you gonna go with?
See, this is a tough one. Gonna go with Davion Mitchell for this one from Baylor. Put together a really solid tournament for them, obviously national champions. 15 points in the title game. And he just played really well all throughout, and he's a big reason why they are the champions. So gotta go with him.
Connor?
No, call me crazy. I'm going to go Jalen Suggs. I think he played incredibly well, and thinking down the line long term, the March Madness tournament always helps with NF or NBA draft stock. And I mean, we saw it a couple years ago with Ja Morant and how he played in the tournament really helped his draft stock here. And I think Jalen Suggs played well as well. 16 points in the opening or in the second round game, 18 points in the Elite Eight, 16 points in the Final Four, including the buzzer beater, and then 22 points in the national championship game. I think Jalen Suggs is the tournament MVP here.
Mike?
Connor, I can't believe you took the wrong Gonzaga player here. I'm taking the best player in Gonzaga, Drew Timme. And while Jalen Suggs is the better NBA prospect, Drew Timme was the best player on that team. He averaged 22 points per game for the whole tournament. You talked about that second round game against Oklahoma, where he only put 16 points. Drew Timme put up 30. And really, the only bad game Drew Timme had this whole March Madness was against Baylor, where they were literally double teaming him the whole time because Baylor understood the kind of impact he has on the game. He's just so efficient around the rim, in the post, taking the ball off handoffs and all that kind of, really motion stuff to the rim for Drew. He's 100% the MVP for me. You could take someone on Baylor, like Tommy said, with Davion Mitchell. I was even thinking about going with Johnny Juzang, given his scoring importance to UCLA. But for me, it's got to be Drew Timme.
Mike got to my MVP, and that is Johnny Juzang. So the reason why I'm going Johnny Juzang as MVP is the amount of value that he had on UCLA. You guys talked about him on the break as your breakout player, but just highlighting his stats again, he had 29 against Gonzaga, 28 against Michigan, 13 against Alabama, but then 17 against Abilene Christian and 27 against Michigan State. I believe that this guy is the biggest reason why UCLA was in the Final Four and got to that long streak. Now, nonetheless, the guys that he was playing with were really great too. I just think that Johnny Juzang, he deserves a lot for that run, and that is why I ended up going Buddy Boeheim as my break. I would have went with Buddy Boeheim anyway as my breakout player of the tournament, and then MVP. I gotta go with Johnny Juzang. Johnny Juzang, he just won a lot of Go Chat awards here today. But again, like I said, a great tournament. The national championship maybe wasn't ideal what I thought it was going to be, but nonetheless, it was a great wrap up to the March Madness tournament bracket. Anyone else?
Consensus here that UCLA versus Gonzaga in the Final Four was the best game of the tournament.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's quite clear.
Other than Syracuse, West Virginia, yeah.
I was gonna say I haven't watched a college or even an NBA game like that to that magnitude. Just you could feel the pressure build up when you're watching the game, and it was just something I haven't seen in probably the past 10 years. It was crazy.
I know we got a long one here for you. We're not going to be doing GOAT picks on the episode. We will have a graphic up on our Instagram page, and definitely check that out for the games we pick as well as who we pick. I am currently in the lead. I will say that Matt is in second. I think Mike is in third. Mike and Tommy are tied.
All of us, 3 of us.
We're gonna bounce back.
How many games are behind Connor? 1?
No,
I don't think we're tied
you.
because yeah. Okay.
Tied.
So you all are 1 behind me. Okay, we're gonna get into our go to the week segment and then wrap up a kind of long episode for you guys. I hope you guys stuck with us here. We'll finish this up next.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Go Chat. We're going to finish up the episode here with the Go of the Week segment, as we always do at the end of the week. And, lots of good performances this week, but I'm going to swing it to you, Mike. Who's your Go of the Week for today?
I'm going with Nick Castellanos from the Cincinnati Reds. He is absolutely bombing the ball off his bat this week. 3 home runs this past week, hitting 375. 6 RBIs, I think it is, and also a double to throw on top of that. So he's been a real reason why the Reds have started off 5-1 this season, just playing like one of the better players in the league, which he is, and it's 100% Nick Castellanos.
I didn't know fighting in the MLB makes you go to the week. I mean,
I know. What are we
I mean,
doing?
you could throw that in there. He's got hands.
If you're gonna do something like that, you should pick Michael Conforto for cheating, but we don't have to get into that. But all right, Cotter, who's your go of the week?
I'm going to go with another baseball player who's been absolutely lighting up the field, and it's going to be a rookie. No, it's going to be 22-year-old Akil Badu. I hope I said his last name right. He is a Detroit Tiger outfielder who has been playing really well in the start of his rookie season. He's hit 2 walk-off hits, including one being a home run. He has 2 home runs on the year, 5 hits, 7 RBIs, a stolen base, and throughout the first week, he's batting .455. And absolutely incredible to see from a rookie at 22 years old. So I'm going to go with Akil Badu.
Connor, that's a great pick. Matt, who do you have?
I mean, what talk about a snooze fest already. I think I'm falling asleep, taking another nap today. But I did win go of the week last week, if anyone wanted to know. I don't really lose anyway, so
We don't care. We don't care. Just give your pick.
I think I have like a 10 point lead or something.
We don't care. We don't care. Give your pick.
Let's go to something that people actually care about, and that is Ncaa Basketball. We just talked about March Madness. My go of the week is the MOP, most outstanding player of the Final Four, Jared Butler. Butler played fantastic against Gonzaga. The Gonzaga, obviously, we know was the best team in the country, and Jared Butler stepped up to the occasion with 22 points, 7 assists. And we look back at the history, Jared Butler is actually the first player with 20-plus points and 7+ assists in the men's national title game since Melo did it in 2003. You know, when you're in a graphic with Melo at Syracuse, you're doing something right. Jared Butler is going to win the go of the week.
He's not even the best player on his team, but whatever, Tommy. Go ahead.
He played like the best player on his team, didn't
Tommy,
he?
go ahead.
Crickets?
Well, it's another.
Well, you didn't even pick him to start. You didn't even pick him to. You didn't even
That's
pick
the
him
go
to
to
start
the week, Mike. That's the only game he played this whole week.
The second Jalen Suggs hit the buzzer beater, you called him, and then you had to change your pick. You weren't so confident in Jalen Suggs there, so you had to change.
Buddy, you claimed Jared Goff, and he had one of the worst playoff games that he's had in his career. So I don't know what the heck you're talking about.
Months ago, that was a while ago.
Buddy,
you call yourself the go to the week king. You should be able to stick with one player and still be able to win it.
Connor, you sound so salty right now. It's insane.
I'm so salty. Tommy, give us your go.
Thank you. I think it was a good pick, Matt. I got to go with another rookie like you, Connor. I got to go with your mean Mercedes of the Chicago White Sox. What he was able to do is incredible. So he debuted in 2020, played 1 game, but he made the opening day roster, and he went 8 for his first 8 this season, which is remarkable. The most consecutive hits that any batter has gotten in the modern era to start a season, and that dates back to 1900. So he made history there, and he's just been outstanding since then as well. He's leading the league in hits with 15 through the first week, and he's hitting .556, leading the league in batting average as well. He has 7 RBIs and 2 home runs as well. Can't say enough about your mean Mercedes. I mean, you really can't have a better start than that. So he's my go of the week, and I think he's the clear winner, but I know it's probably going to be, Matt again, but yeah.
If I had a vote, Tommy, if I was able to vote, I would put my vote on you. Just to see the way that he played as a rookie. And, I mean, even my pick as well, but I'm not talking about my pick. Your mean Mercedes came out and played out of his mind. I mean, those 8 for 8, it was also 2 home runs along with it. It was a lot of extra base hits. It wasn't just these little singles up the middle. He was hitting the ball for power.
Absolutely. And, he's kept it going too. And, he's filling a big void there too for that team with Eloy Jimenez missing some time, missing the majority of the year. So they really need him to step up, and he's been great.
Great GOAT chat episode. Great go to the week segment. Do we have any final comments here?
No.
Perfect. Hey, it's been a great one. We'll be back next week with number 82. As always, it's another great number for Go to the Number. I'm sure there's going to be great sports topics for us to talk about. There always is. As always, I love coming on and debating with you guys. You got to see a little bit of me versus Matt here today, and that's always something that we don't see very often. So it's definitely good to get at Matt a little bit and win a debate against him. So until next week, we'll be back with Go Chat.